Sadaशिवसमारम्भां Sankaracharya-madhyamam Asmat Acharya-paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Today is June 8th, 2017. It's a very auspicious day as it happens to be the 124th Jayanti of Kanchi Mahaperiva. So I'd like to welcome you today to Guru Krupa video edition number 8, which coincides with this 124th Jayanti. We are indeed very fortunate to live in the era of Kanchi Mahaperiva, whose work to nurture our Sanathana Dharma is unmatched. So in this edition of Guru Krupa, I'd like to share with you some of the thoughts of Mahaperiva on the importance of Vedas. The original lectures were in Tamil and they were translated by many people. What I'm going to provide you are the extracts from a book titled The Hindu Dharma, published by Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. So let me start quoting Mahaperiva on Vedas. Quote, "The Vedas contain lofty truths. People in modern times may not be averse to the idea that these truths are worthy of being cherished. Society requires knowledge, arts, etc. The Vedas are a storehouse of knowledge. So the idea that we must have a special class of people to propagate the truths contained in the Vedas may seem reasonable enough. What difference would it make to the society if this class of people ceased intoning the Vedas? To understand this question, we must first try to find out the nature of the Vedas. No purpose is served by approaching the subject entirely on an intellectual level. We must accept the words of great men who knew the Vedas deep in their hearts. How can we do that, sir? Some people might protest. We are rationalists and we can be convinced of a truth or a statement only on the basis of reason or direct knowledge. What do we do then? How can anyone claim as a matter of right that all subjects ought to be brought within the ken of human reasoning? Man is but one among countless creatures. Take, for instance, the experiments conducted by a physicist in his laboratory. Does a cow understand them? If the scientist formulates certain laws on the basis of the experiments, does the cow say that these laws of physics do not exist? But how are humans ignorant of physics to know about such laws? They trust the statements made by people proficient in the subject. To illustrate, take the example of a common appliance. Let us assume that you are told that it works on the basis of certain principles of science. Don't you accept these principles by observing how the appliance works? In the same way, we must have faith in what great men say about the Vedas, great men who live strictly adhering to the Shastras. We must also place our faith on the scriptures on the basis of the fruits or benefits yielded by them, the benefits we directly perceive. One such fruit is still there for all of us to see. It is Hinduism itself the religion that has withstood the challenges of all these millennia. The sages transcended the frontiers of human knowledge and became one with the universal reality. It is through them that the world received the Vedic mantras. This is one of the basic concepts of our religion. If you do not accept that human beings can attain such Atmic power as exemplified by these seers, any further talk on this subject would be futile. One could point to you great men who you can see for yourself, great men who have perfected themselves and acquired powers not shared by the common people. But if you think them to be cheats or fraudulent men, any further talk would again be useless. In your present state of limited understanding, the argument that denies the existence of anything beyond the range of human reason and comprehension itself betrays the height of rationalism. Some people are at a loss to understand why the sound of the Vedas is given so much of importance. How does sound originate, or how is it caused? When there is vibration, where there is movement or motion, there is sound. This is strictly according to rational science. Speech is constituted of vibrations of many kinds. We hear sounds with our ears, but these are sounds that are converted into electric waves, and these we cannot hear. We know this from the working of the telephone and the radio. All that we hear or perceive others are indeed electric waves. Science has come to the point of recognizing them to be electric waves. The man who sees and listens, his brains are all electric waves. There are countless numbers of inert objects in the world: land, masses and mountains, rivers and oceans and so on. Also, there are sentient creatures of many kinds. All of them must have been created out of something. During creation, this something must have vibrated in many ways and given rise to all that we see today. If all our moments of sound, there must have existed numerous different kinds of sound before creation. In this creation, one is sustained by another. In the process of mutual sustenance, different movements and sounds must be produced. It is not necessary that vibration should form a part of only gross activities. Science has discovered that even our thinking process is a kind of electric current or energy. Each thought process is a form of electric current or energy, and it must produce a vibration and a sound. This kind of sound being very subtle, we do not hear it with our human ears. Just as there are bacteria which we do not see them with our naked eye, there are many sounds that our ears do not pick up. According to science, any physical or mental movement must produce sound. The idea that each moment produces its own sound may be put differently: this. To create a particular sound, a particular moment must be produced. Take the case of a musician singing. If you want to sing like him, bring out the variations like him, you will have to produce the same vibrations that he creates in his throat. Sound and vibration or motion go together. The vibrations produce either a gross object or a mental state. We come to the conclusion that creation is a product of sound. This ancient concept is substantiated by science itself. Creation, the many things connected with it, thoughts and moments and the sound associated with them fill space. What happens to the sound produced by the clapping of our hands? It remains in space. Good as well as bad actions produce their own sounds as well as moments associated with them. Conversely, the creation of these type of moments will result in good as well as evil. To produce good thoughts in people, good moments must be created. The sounds corresponding to them must be produced. Can we generate such sounds that produce good thoughts for the welfare of mankind? The mantras of the Vedas are sounds that have the power to inspire good thoughts in people. One more thing, we need food for our sustenance, and to grow food there must be rain. The formation of clouds and their precipitations are dependent on certain vibrations. Rainfall depends on the production of particular sounds, which in turn create particular vibrations. The same applies to all our needs in life. It is true that unnecessary and evil objects are also produced by sound. But the one and only goal of the sound of the Vedas is the creation of well-being throughout the world. But are sound and vibrations produced spontaneously? If vibrations arise on their own, they will be erratic and confusing and not related to one another. What do we see in the cosmos? There is a certain orderliness about it, and one thing in it is linked to another. So what do we infer from this? That a great intelligence has formulated the scheme that we see, that it has created from its own vibrations. The Vedas are sounds emanating from the vibrations of this great intelligence. That is why we believe that the mantras of the Vedas originate from the Paramatman himself, the great Almighty. We must take special care of such sounds to ensure the good of the world. Yes, the Vedic mantras are sequences of sounds that are meant for the good of the world. Unquote. This is a very rare talk by Mahapariva, and it seems to coincide so well with the upcoming Maharudram event here in Chicago, starting tomorrow, 9th of June, and ending on 11th of June. It's a 3-day event which has a Maharudram, where we will have more than 121 Ritviks reciting the Rudram, Sri Rudram, in synchronous sound. And it is a delight to hear such sounds, and one has to experience it. So this is a beautiful message conveyed by Mahapariva on the importance of Vedas. So with this, we conclude Guru Krupa session number 8. Please stay tuned for the next one. Thank you and have a nice day. Jaya Jaya Shankara Hara Hara Shankara Jaya Jaya Shankara Hara Hara Shankara.